Welcome to Talking Buffalo, featuring conversations with guests from around the world of sports, media, pop culture, and all things Buffalo, with your host, Patrick Moran.
All right, what is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to a Black Friday episode here of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Big thank you to everyone out there, as always, for watching, for listening, for following, for subscribing. You guys are the best. Appreciate you all very, very much. This is our typical Friday Buffalo Bills preview. This week, of course, Bills 49ers primetime Sunday night. So our Bills-Niners preview, keys to victory for Buffalo, bowl predictions, and a final score guess. That's what's on store, what's on tap here today at Talking Buffalo. Before we get going, I want to thank today's sponsor, Sunny Reds, 1841 Abbott Road in Lackawanna, literally 5 minutes away from Highmark Stadium. I said it once, I'll say it every single episode. Not one of the most underrated places for wings and pizza in all of Western New York. It is the most underrated place for pizza and wings in all of Western New York, especially wings, period. End of story. If you have not been there yet, make sure that you do. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. At worst, I hope that it was better than the last 20 seconds for Chicago Bears head coach, maybe soon to be former Chicago Bears head coach, Matt Eberflus. I mean, that was just absolutely inexcusable and embarrassing. And look, I don't got no real horse in that race. That game did not affect the Buffalo Bills or the AFC one iota. But just watching the game as a football fan, you're just screaming at your TV the last 20 seconds or so. A rookie quarterback, clearly his head was, like a deer between headlights, just did not know what was going on. And Eberflus just sat there on the sideline, did not use that final timeout. And what just an awful way to end the football game. If that was Sean McDermott, we might not be talking about anything else on the show today. If that was Sean McDermott who did that. But anyway, that aside, I hope you did have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I did, hung out with the fam. Typical. In fact, I posted it on Twitter X, whatever you want to call it. My embarrassing traditional Thanksgiving plate, which quite literally consists of nothing but turkey and a lot of turkey, gravy, and biscuits. And for like the third straight year, I got taken to the woodshed with the comments, deservedly so. No stuffing, no potatoes, no sides, no casserole, no nothing else. But maybe even more than that, I labeled what was on my plate biscuits. Folks, those weren't biscuits. They were dinner rolls. So thank you to everyone out there who let me know that. And there were a lot of you. But anyway, I hope your dinner was great. I hope your time with your family was great. If this was a holiday that you struggled with, and I know for a lot of people, you lose a loved one and you get to this time of year, it gets to be difficult, especially if it's the first major holiday without a loved one. But thoughts and prayers are with you all. I know that can be a really tough time. I've been there myself. Right? Anyway, got that out of the way. So, Buffalo Bills, San Francisco 49ers here, man. This feels to me like two football teams right now that are going in complete opposite directions. The Buffalo Bills are playing their best football this season. They came off their biggest victory of the season. They are coming off a bye week. They are physically well rested. And meanwhile, you got the San Francisco 49ers who are just straight up a mess on the injury front. They are banged up. They are shorthanded. They've been shorthanded for a lot of the season. There's not a lot of teams right now in the NFL that can relate to the injuries that the Bills have went through. San Francisco is definitely one of those teams. We'll get into a couple specifics in just a minute here. But yeah, that's the story right now. The Bills, they're red hot. They're playing great football. They're 9-2. The 49ers, defending NFC champion San Francisco 49ers, not so much. They're 5-6. They've been a little bit of a mess. And like I said, the injuries have been a huge factor for them. Something that may be a factor for both teams come Sunday night is the weather. There's been literally, and I'm recording this on Thanksgiving here, Thanksgiving early evening in Buffalo, November 28th. There has not been a drop of measurable snow on the ground this entire season. Not an ounce. That is expected to change and possibly in a very big way on Sunday night. So that could be a factor for this football game as well. So we'll kind of keep the same format here, what I do. And I'm going to try to make this really quick, especially because Black Friday, essentially a unofficial holiday. I know there's a lot of people off of work today. A lot of people aren't having that typical morning commute to and from work, where I know a lot of people like to listen to this show. You got a lot of other stuff going on, Black Friday shopping for a lot of you. So I'm not going to try to keep this episode long at all. I'm going to make it as short as possible. When it comes to the Bills, like I said, they're 9-2 right now. They're well rested after a bye week. Sean McDermott has never lost when the Bills have come off a bye week. And if you're a Buffalo Bills fan right now, which if you're watching or listening to the show, chances are really, really good that you are, you're riding sky high right now. Just go back a couple weeks. These last couple weeks have been very, very promising for the Bills. You beat the Chiefs, which is now the fourth straight year you've beaten them in the regular season. So I get that. We talked about this last week. I'm not going to go down this road again. A lot of Bills detractors, a lot of Chiefs fans saying, congratulations, this is the Bills Super Bowl. No, not the case at all. The Bills have been down this road before. However, this is a vastly different Buffalo Bills football team than we've seen the past couple of years. There's a lot of players on this team who haven't been around for the last 3 or 4 years. A lot of the core players have changed on this team. A lot of the Bills youngsters are quickly becoming core nucleus type players. Gone are the Micah Hydes and the Jordan Poyers and the Trey Whites and the Stephon Diggs and the Gabe Davises and the Mitch Morrises. Those guys are gone. And you got a new young core of ascending, mostly young ascending football players on this team. So it was important, very important. Don't downplay the Chiefs' victory like it's just one game out of 17. It's not. It's not the Bills Super Bowl by any means, but it wasn't just a regular season game. So that game was important. You go back a couple weeks ago to Miami. You got their best shot. And your kicker, who has been kind of bad this season, probably came close to losing his job anyway. The Bills did sign a kicker to practice squad for a couple weeks. And Tyler Bass kicks a 61-yard, a franchise record 61-yard field goal to literally win a game against your divisional rivals. So that's been good. The defense has been really good. We've seen it several times this season, especially when they've been healthier. And by that, I mean two guys in particular. When Tyron Johnson and Terrell Bernard are both on the field, this is a completely different Buffalo Bills defense. None so more evident than a couple weeks ago in Indianapolis, where the offense was fine. They were okay. They got the job done, so to speak. But that game was carried by a defense that produced 4 takeaways that game. So there's a lot to be optimistic with the Buffalo Bills right now. You're in the driver's seat. Now, I'm recording this before Miami plays Green Bay on Thursday night. I don't know how that game ends up playing out. But regardless, for all intents and purposes, the AFC East is over. And the Buffalo Bills right now are sitting as a number 2 seed, and they are at least within reasonable, realistic, striking distance of the number 1 overall seed in the AFC. They got a real chance to win that. But even if they don't, they're sitting pretty right now as the number 2 seed. Lots of things are going right with the Buffalo Bills as we get ready to restart, I should say, after the bye, starting with this game against Frisco and over their last 6 games. Injuries have been a big issue with the Bills all season long. For the most part, that has been good news on the injury front this week. Spencer Brown, who could not play against Kansas City because of an ankle, he said himself, he told Alex Brasky earlier in the week he was playing. He was limited to practice on Wednesday, a full participant on Thursday. The dude said he's playing, so you could count on him playing. So he'll be returning. Keon Coleman has been limited both Wednesday and Thursday at practice, red non-contact jersey. But the fact that he's been out there for both those days, he's been catching passes. He hasn't had anything on his wrist. I don't want to say he's a lock to play like Spencer Brown, but there's a really good chance that Keon Coleman, after missing the past 2 games, could be back for this Frisco game. Of course, the big one, the big return, very likely anyway, should be Matt Milano. He's been full go at practice both Wednesday and Thursday. We've seen videos of him tackling dummies. He looks really good. I still say he's going to be on a pitch count, at least for the first game or 2 that he's back. So you'll still see plenty of Dorian Williams. But Matt Milano on the field. Sunday night is looking very likely. And I think that's going to give the Bills a big boost, both obviously physically on the football field, but also kind of emotionally. It's good to get one of your core players back. I think that's going to give the team, especially the defense, a big lift. So almost all good on the injury front. The one thing that's not good right now is Dalton Kincaid. The former first rounder did not practice at all on Wednesday. Also did not practice on Thursday. Missed the last game and a half, basically, before the bye week. Came off a bye week, and he's still not practicing. So I don't know what the extent of the injury is. None of us really do right now. He hasn't been put on IR, so obviously that was promising, but it's not looking good at all for him to play. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me at all by the time you hear this. Sean McDermott speaks on WGR Friday morning. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if Dalton Kincaid is ruled out for that game, which is fine. You know, depth has been a strength of this football team almost all season long. And that was on display again their last game before the bye against the Chiefs. Dawson Knox needed to step up, and he did. 4 catches for 40 yards against the Chiefs. So you might see a lot more Dawson Knox again this Sunday. Also, don't know if they're going to play yet, but the rookie Talon Grable, both rookies actually, Dwayne Carter, their practice windows were open for both. If Matt Milano returns, and some of you might not know this, but you might be wondering, well, if Milano is activated by Saturday at 4 p.m., who would the Bills have to cut to make room for him? Well, the answer is nobody, because the Bills are only at 52 guys right now. So they still actually have an open roster spot. So Matt Milano can officially join this team this weekend, and they won't have to cut anybody. When Grable comes back, Carter comes back, assuming they both do come back, that's when you start getting into guys who you might have to cut. And we're not going to spend any time talking about that today. We'll talk about that next week if there's no other moves that are made by that point. So that's what we're looking at on the injury front. In terms of stats, you know, the only stat I'm going to throw out here, instead of throwing at you what Josh is throwing for, what James Cook and Ray Davis have run for, how many catches Khalil Shah has, all that stuff. The only stat I want to throw out today, because this has been a big one, and it's something that we haven't really talked enough about, at least on this show. I can't speak for other content shows, but on this show, I've neglected to talk about turnovers versus giveaways right now. The Bills, kind of a low-key stat, at least a little bit. The Bills have only given the ball away 7 times this entire season. 7 giveaways in 11 games. That's it. That's it for the year. Only the LA Chargers have fewer giveaways this season than the Buffalo Bills. The Chargers have given the ball away just 5 times. Bills 7. So that's impressive. And as a result, the Bills quite literally lead the entire NFL right now in turnover margin. They are a plus 14. So you got a quarterback who many consider the front runner for MVP right now. In fact, he is the betting favorite right now in Vegas to win MVP. So you couple your quarterback playing at an MVP caliber level, and a football team that is leading the entire league in turnover margin. And that's the two biggest reasons why right now the Bills are sitting at 9-2. Anyway, I take a real quick break. Then we'll take a quick peek at what's going on with the 49ers. Like I said, a couple keys of the game for the Bills, a few bowl predictions, a score prediction, and then we'll get you out of here. Be right back, folks. All right, we are back here. Buffalo Bills, San Francisco 49ers preview, keys to victory, bowl predictions. We talked about the Bills for the break. As far as the San Francisco 49ers, again, they're the defending NFC champions right now. They're just 5-6 on the season, and they got plastered last week at Green Bay, a blowout loss, 38-10. Advanced metrics, DVOA stuff says San Francisco's still a really good football team. They're 9th overall in DVOA. They're 8th in offense, and they're 6th in defense. Their special teams DVOA stinks, and that's why they're not ranked even higher. They're only 31st in special teams. Their defense, despite injuries, they've been pretty good, man. They have 11 interceptions on the year. It's tied for 7th most in the league. They have forced 12 fumbles, which is tied for 4th best in the league. 28 sacks. That's around middle of the pack, so they can still get to the quarterback. So statistically, they look pretty good. Their problem, they have two problems. Like the Bills, they have injuries. We'll get to those in a second. But, before the break, we talked about the Bills leading the NFL in turnover margins. Well, with the San Francisco 49ers, they've given the ball away 16 times this season. That's more than double what the Bills have given away. The Bills have given the ball away 7 times. 49ers, 16. It's tied for 7th most in the NFL. So that's been a big problem with this football team. And like I said, they're one of the few teams that can really relate to the Bills with some bad injury luck. Christian McCaffrey, all-world running back, an MVP candidate last year. He's missed 8 games this season. He's only played in 3 football games. Brandon Ayuk, who was the subject of trade rumors all over the place during the offseason, including Buffalo. We spent a lot of time talking about the possibility of Brandon Ayuk coming to the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, it did end up happening. He got a nice contract with the 49ers, and he's done for the season already. Knee injury, he only played 7 games. Bam. He's done for the season. Kittle's missed 2 games. Juwan Jennings has missed 2 games this season. Ricky Pearsall, their talented rookie wide receiver, missed the first 6 games. He got shot during the offseason. Deebo Samuel's missed a game this year. Trent Williams has missed a game this year. Nick Bosa, Brock Purdy. I mean, these are studs on offense and defense, respectively. Neither of them played last week in that 38-10 blowout loss at Green Bay. And the injury situation on their side, and again, I'm recording this, like I said, late afternoon, early evening on Thursday, but things don't appear to be going their way on the injury front at all. No Nick Bosa at practice yet at all this week, and he's got an oblique injury, a couple other things that are nagging him, so he could be out on Sunday. Trent Williams, who already had a heel injury, now an ankle one. I saw a report in Frisco that he was riding around on a cart in the locker room, he couldn't barely even walk. He hasn't practiced. That's certainly not looking good for him at all on Sunday either. Their starting left guard, Aaron Banks, he's in concussion protocol. At least as I record this, he's still in concussion protocol. And Brock Purdy's got a shoulder issue. And as I record this anyway, I still haven't heard any reports of him throwing. He missed last week. This is a football team. Look, they got to start winning some football games, and there won't be any playoffs to talk about, but they might want to give him one more week so that they have him for the last 5 games. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if you don't see Brock Purdy out there at all. So you're talking about a cornerstone future Hall of Fame left tackle that's probably not playing. You're talking about Nick Bosa, one of the best edge rushers in all of football, not playing. Potentially your starting left guard not playing. And again, your quarterback, literally your starting quarterback, probably not playing. So this is a wounded team. This is a wounded team in terms of the record. This is a wounded team physically, like literally physically. And you know what they say about wounded teams or wounded animals? They're you be the most dangerous. This is still, despite those injuries, even if they don't have Bosa, even if they don't have Purdy, even if they don't have Williams on Sunday, even if McCaffrey's still not fully 100%, no Brandon Ayuk. This is still a very dangerous football team that still has plenty of talent. George Kittle, quite possibly the best tight end in football today. He's got 49 catches this year, 642 yards. He's found the end zone 8 times. Juwan Jennings, we'll call him an ascending receiver in this league. He's really good, like really good. He's got 47 catches, 628 yards, 4 touchdowns. These are great ascending younger wide receivers. You got Kittle, you got Jennings. Don't sleep on Christian McCaffrey. He's getting back locked in. He's a very dangerous player. Let's not sleep on that. Deebo Samuel is kind of, he's looked, I'm going to be honest with you, looked a little washed at times, but he's still Deebo Samuel. He can still make plays. So they got plenty of playmakers on that offense. Defensively, you got to start, when you talk about Frisco, you got to start with Fred Warner. Fred Warner, despite the fact he just talked about this week, he's been playing with like an ankle fracture this entire season and he missed a game. This dude is probably the best linebacker in the entire NFL. And look, the Bills know a thing or two about great linebackers with Bernard, Matt Milano. Fred Warner is the best linebacker in this league. So you're going to have to deal with him. You remember old friend from last year, Leonard Floyd. He's got 6.5 sacks this year, so he can get to the quarterback still. So even with all those injuries with the Niners, I'm just saying they're a dangerous team with plenty of talent on paper. Anyway, big difference though between Brock Purdy out there and potentially Brandon Allen at quarterback. But anyway, in terms of keys of the game, as always, I'm going to give you 3 for the Bills. I don't think I'm uncovering any stones here, solving any big mysteries. But the first thing to me is not having rust. You're coming off a bye. You're coming off a high of a big win. You could, again, if you're the Bills, you could try to act like that Kansas City Chiefs was just another game. It's not. So be a little careful. You can tend to be a little bit rusty when you haven't played a football game in, which will be 14 days when they take the field on Sunday night. So that early rust could be an issue. The 49, a couple things go their way early on. Bills come out sloppy, which offensively they've done a lot of this season. Defense at times as well. So early rust, not having a lot of it anyway is a key to me for the Bills. I would say the second one is to keep on keeping on with the turnover margin. Like I said, the Bills literally lead the NFL at plus 14. San Francisco is dead even at 0. Dead even at 0. So don't lose the turnover margin if you're the Bills. That's what it's all about. One way for a team, I can't, it almost sounds weird to say, to label San Francisco in a matchup as the inferior team. But given the fact that they're on the road with the injuries they have for this specific game, the 49ers may be the inferior football team, at least on paper. And you don't want to give the inferior football team winning the turnover battle. So don't lose the turnover battle if you're the Bills. Shake off any rust you got very early in the game. And then the third one to me, which sounds pretty simple, but sometimes it's, easier said than done. Just have sound run defense. The Bills I'm talking about here. San Francisco has not had a 100-yard rusher in the last 6 games. Christian McCaffrey in his 3 games back, 39, 79, and 31 yards rushing. So he's been under 40 yards rushing in 2 of his 3 games. He can still catch the ball out of the backfield. He's got 16 catches. But running the football, McCaffrey's not been very effective this season at all. Jordan Mason could be a problem. He's a tough, physical, bruising runner. He concerns me. I might go as far to say, and you might be like, what? That sounds crazy. Jordan Mason might concern me as much as anyone on the 49ers offense, maybe other than George Kittle. George Kittle's just a nightmare. But Jordan Mason can be a problem. How much he plays, I don't know, because he's not the starter. Christian McCaffrey's the guy. So we'll see how that plays out. But Jordan Mason low-key scares me a little bit. Winding down here now. So we'll go bowl predictions. I got 3 of them for the Bills. Number 1, don't even know that he's playing yet, at least officially anyway, but I suspect he's going to. My first bowl prediction is that Keon Coleman not only returns to the Bills this week, but he does so by scoring a touchdown. I think he's going to have a red zone touchdown, a muscle type touchdown. I think with this weather, you're not going to see a wide open track at all. And these bigger physical receivers will have the advantage in the snow. And I see Keon coming back, and I see him coming back in a meaningful way by scoring a touchdown. Second one, and I'm sorry, folks, but from time to time, I have a negative Bills bowl prediction, and this is going to be one of them. There's a fun stat. To this point, it's been fun anyway. I don't even know if you guys knew this, but no Buffalo Bills running back has fumbled the ball this season. 228 carries. James Cook, Ty Johnson, Ray Davis. 0 fumbles, 228 carries. Now, Josh Allen has fumbled the football technically as a running back, but I didn't say quarterback. I said running back. Cook, Davis, Johnson. 228 carries combined, 0 fumbles. Bowl prediction, that ends on Sunday night. One of those guys are going to drop the ball on the carpet and lose it too. I'll even go there, complete the bowl prediction by saying one of those 3 running backs are going to not only fumble, but they're going to lose the fumble as well. I don't know who it's going to be. I'm not going to go that far ahead, but that'll be a turnover the Bills have. The Bills are going to have at least 1 turnover, and it's going to be because a running back lost a fumble. So that's 2. Number 3, something that I feel like has been overdue now at this point of the year. The San Francisco 49ers, again, they've been pretty shitty on special teams all season long. And maybe with the weather, the snow, kickoffs might not go as far. They might not travel as far. And it might be a kickoff or it might be a punt. But one way or the other, I'm going to give you a house call. All right? Rookie Brandon Condrington is going to take one to the house. Kick return, punt return, not sure which. But the Bills are going to have a special teams return touchdown, and it's going to come courtesy of Brandon Condrington. So there you go. To recap that, Keon Coleman is not only returning, but he's going to do so by scoring a touchdown. A Buffalo Bills running back, not saying which one, but one of the Bills running backs are going to lose a fumble, and Brandon Condrington is going to return a kick or punt for a touchdown. So now we've arrived to the end here. Time for my game prediction. Which, by the way, give myself a little shine. I say, I have a lot of bad takes, a lot of bad predictions, but if I've been pretty damn good at one thing this season, it's been nailing the bowl predictions. So I'm telling you right now, maybe all 3 of those don't happen, but I'd almost be willing to bet that either Keon Coleman scores a touchdown, Condrington scores a touchdown, or the Bills lose a fumble by a running back. At least one of those 3. I don't know which one, but I'm solid in one of those 3 is happening. I hope it's not one of the Bills running backs losing a fumble, of course. Anyway, all right. Game prediction here. I think the weather is going to matter. I haven't talked about it a lot on this show, but it's going to matter. The Bills have not had to play in crap weather all season. Obviously, Frisco, being on the West Coast, hasn't had to do that. They're going to be flying to the East. That's always an issue. Primetime game is going to be a little bit colder. No sunshine out there at all. No idea what the wind's going to look like. Don't even know what the snow is going to look like, other than the fact it's not going to be a dry field. That much I think we can all count on. But the weather is going to be a factor, and I think that might make for at least a little bit of a sloppy game. Because, by the way, if you're listening to this show, I don't know what's going on with my microphone. It's kind of popping from here to there a little bit. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything wrong. It doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with the wiring, but it's a pretty annoying sound. So I do apologize if you're hearing some popping sounds on the show today. But anyway, all right. Weather is going to matter. It could make for a sloppy track out there. I do think San Francisco is at least relatively desperate. They don't want to go 2 games under 500, not after 12 games. I mean, the NFC West, nobody's running away with it. They could lose this game and still win the division. They could lose this game. They could still be a playoff team. But another loss, if they're not desperate already, they will be if they lose this game. So I think they're at least semi-desperate right now. And Shanahan's a great coach. I love him. He's one of my favorite coaches in the league. And again, sometimes a wounded animal is the most dangerous one. And that's what I think Frisco is physically with these injuries right now. So weather, desperation to win, a good head coach that'll have them ready to play. There's reasons, there's factors to favor the 49ers. But I think Buffalo's just straight out the better football team. They're the better team as it is, and they're a team that is getting healthy and getting their guys back. They're probably going to have Spencer Brown, Matt Milano, and Keon Coleman back. None of those guys played in the Chiefs' victory. None of them. And I think they're the better team. And I continue to feel like this is just their season, or at least it's felt like that to this point. And I look at Frisco and I'm like, I don't think this is the team that's going to derail them. But I do think it's going to be a close game. So I'm going Bills 23, 49ers 17. So there you go. Bills 23, 49ers 17. Buffalo will move to 10-2 on this season before back-to-back road games at Los Angeles against the Rams. And then the big one that everyone who likes football is going to want to see, Bills at Detroit, 4:25 p.m. game on CBS on December 15th. So there you go. All right, guys, and that's going to do it for this episode. Again, I hope you had a really good Thanksgiving. If you're listening to this early, hope you're having some fun with Black Friday. I can't stand you people who go out and will fight people for TV or whatever. I haven't been doing it in so long. I don't even know if it's still like that anymore. Hopefully, deals are more spread out and they found ways to kind of combat that. But anyway, enjoy the holiday. Enjoy the holiday weekend. That's to come. A big, big game on Sunday, at least in terms of marquee football. 2 really good teams playing each other on prime time. Doesn't get much better than that. And we'll be back live Sunday night immediately after the game. Joe from Queens, win or lose, I'll be live with Joe for a post game. Talk to you guys then.